as you mentioned, my name is Sharla Akers. I'm a program manager on the Windows Developer Platform focusing on MSIX, and in particular, I own the Msi X Packaging Tool.
Hello, Matteo. I'm based in Italy, and I'm part of the Windows App Consult team, and we work closely with Sharla's team to help customers get their hands on the technologies they build and start adopting and using them.
Yep.
Thanks for coming here.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about modernizing your application deployment process with MSIX. And talking about, so MSIX is kind of the evolution of our previous deployment technologies. So we're taking what we know from MSI and AppV and your setup.exes and using all of that knowledge to kind of modernize and move you forward so that, moving forward, you never have to regret installing an app. So with MSIX, you get a simple, clean, secure, reliable deployment. It's OS managed, so your installs, your updates, and your removals are all part of the operating system. We also have a declarative installation with our manifest file, which also means that you have a clean uninstall, which means no more WinRot. Windows also provides integrity for the application with MSIX through code signing, and you can reuse your existing assets. So all of those MSIs and AppVs and setup.exes that you have today, you can convert to MSIX easily. With MSIX, there are also a lot of benefits at deployment time. So with MSIX, we have single instance storage of files across apps and users. So what this means is that when you install an app and it requires a file, if you install another application that needs that same file, we'll hard link that and we won't duplicate that file on your device. We also have differential updates at the block level. So if your user has version 1 of an application and version 2 comes out and you'd like to update them to version 2, we're only going to download those bits that changed from version 1 to version 2 instead of re-downloading that entire package that you already have a lot of already. We also have resource packages, which are a part of MSIX packages, and essentially what it means is that your users will only get the resource package that they need, such as the language that they need. And so we've been talking a lot about MSIX and the modernization movement, but I also want to acknowledge that we have made some past attempts at modernization, but those past attempts have been really kind of more app developer focused with the desktop bridge or the desktop app converter. And there wasn't a ton of incentive for the ISVs to move to this modern deployment technology. And we know that even if you did have the source code, most IT pros don't necessarily identify as app developers. And so what we're trying to do with MSIX is really empower the IT pros to take their existing assets and modernize them without having to rely on the ISVs. And for this, we know that tools are important. Being able to build your tool set and convert to MSIX easily through these tools. We're building it for IT pros, but also focusing on the developer side as well, because we know that it's kind of a whole environment here. We know at Microsoft we haven't really done anything for the IT pro in 10 years or so. And so, at this point, we're really trying to help push forward MSIX. We've got a lot of support from third-party partners that are here today. CloudHouse, Flexera, Advanced Installer, Raynet, they're all here and they're all supporting MSIX. So this is kind of where we want to go in the future. This is our virtuous cycle where your Windows updates are separated from your app updates, which are separate from your enterprise customizations, so that when you have an app update, you don't have to then go and repackage your application to make your customizations work or any other updates, so that you can update each of those things independently. And in order to do that, you need to convert to MSIX. And so we'd like to offer the Msi X Packaging Tool as a solution to get you to MSIX. So the Msi X Packaging Tool is free from the Microsoft Store for Business. No source code required, so you can take your existing MSIs, your AppVs, your setup.exes, and then run them through the tool and easily get an MSIX package. There's offline distribution available from the Microsoft Store for Business. So if you aren't able to get it from the store, you can do that this way. And we're also going to be offering a quick create virtual machine. So that virtual machine is going to have the MinOS already loaded on it, which is 1809. The Windows 10 1809 is the minimum build requirement for MSIX. It will already have the packaging tool installed on it, so all you need to do is connect to that quick create VM, and you can easily convert to MSIX. So the MSIX packaging tool, the release target is October 2018, which I'm sure you realize it is already almost halfway through October 2018, which means it's coming very soon. Possibly Monday, who knows? So with the packaging tool, we'll also have new features available independent of the OS update. So because we're releasing it through the tool, we're able to kind of get those updates and features to you guys a lot sooner. And we want to do frequent updates based on based on user feedback that we get. So we'd really love it if you guys could, test it out and use it and let us know what you're thinking. So that we can kind of make it work for you. And now you can get a sneak peek.
Okay, so we can see now the MSIX packaging tool in action. This is coming from the store. And when you start the tool, it will ask you if you want to create a package for an existing application or a modification package. We'll see later what's the purpose of modification packages. So for the moment, let's focus on standard application. What this tool does is that it will perform the deployment of the application on the machine, and it will capture all the changes that the installer or the AppV deployment is doing at a file system and registry level. All these changes will be captured, and they will be included inside the package. So the first thing to start is tell me which is the application you want to package. So in this case, we're going to use a very popular application, which is VLC, and we can just point this to the installer of the application. One of the benefits of MSIX is security. So we are not allowing anyone to install MSIX packages which are not signed. Even if the PC is in developer mode, there's no way to install a package which isn't signed. You can use self-signed certificates if you are in testing phase, for example. So in this case, I already have one, so I can go here, pick it, I set the password, and I'm good to go. In the real world, you would use, for example, the certificate which is trusted in your enterprise environment. If you go to the store or the store for business, you don't need a certificate because all the packages are automatically signed with the trusted store certificate. So we go next, and this is the option where you can choose to perform the conversion on this computer or use a virtual machine, like the one that Sharla suggested with the new option that is coming in Hyper-V. The idea, in this case, I'm using my PC because we're doing a demo, a live demo, but in the real world, the suggestion is use a virtual machine. The reason is that, as I told you, the tool will just scan what's happening during the installation process. So if you're doing this on a real production machine with background services, updates running, all kind of stuff running in background, it may happen that the tool will capture things done by these services as part of the installation. So in the end, you may have in the package some false positives, some files or registry keys which don't belong to your application. So use a clean virtual machine, create one everywhere, or create a snapshot every time so that you can always start from a clean environment. Here we need to fill the metadata of the application. Each application Msi X package is described by a manifest file, which is the one that allows Windows to understand the application and declare what the application does. Here we need to fill the information about name, display, display name, publisher name, version. The tool will try to grab the information automatically. For MSI, for example, is able to do that. VLC, it's using a custom XA installer, so in this case, it's not able to do it, so we need to manually set the information. As you can see, the publisher name is already set, and this because one requirement is that the subject of the certificate you are using must match with the publisher name of the package. So you can't sign a package with a Contoso certificate if the publisher is Microsoft. They need to match. So publisher display name, version 10.0. We go next. Here the tool is suggesting me that I have some items, some operations which can generate false positive in the package. So it's suggesting me, do you want to disable Windows Search? Do you want to disable Windows Update? Do you want to disable stuff that can lead to the problems we have talked before? In this case, I just go next. And here the tool will start capturing, and it will launch the installation of the application I've chosen. How many of you have ever tried the desktop app converter, or they've known about the desktop app converter? Okay, I see a few hands. This is the main difference. So the desktop app converter was running the installation inside a container version of Windows, so you weren't able to interact with the setup. Here instead, the application is running with in interactive mode, with a UI. So I can just move on and perform the installation of the application like if I'm installing it because I want to use it. So in this case, let me disable the file types associations because I don't want VLC to take over my applications. Next, this is another reason why you should use a clean machine, because you don't want the installer to mess up with your environment. And here the tool is basically grabbing and detecting all the changes that the VLC installer is doing on the file system and on the registry. And all this information will be captured inside the package. So I finished the setup. The tool now will understand that it's finished. If you can see here at the top, it says your installer has finished running. However, it hasn't stopped the installation, the detection, because here you can go on and install, for example, dependencies. Your application depends from a framework or a library that it's not coming with the installer. You can just deploy that so that the package will contain everything you need to run the application. Or, for example, another thing you can do is that you can, let's say that you have a sort of web installer which downloads some more stuff when the application starts. So you can launch the application here and let it finish the first time setup. In this case, we don't have anything to do. So the tool now finds out which is the entry point. So when I will start this Msi X package, this is the main executable that it will be launched. It's OK. It's the main VLC executable. I'm done. Yes. Now the capturing has been stopped. And now the tool is basically building the whole fundamentals of the package. It will try to filter. There are a set of built-in filters, so it will be able to filter out the noise of the things that he knows that they aren't good. And it will basically prepare a package which has a manifest and all the files which this installer has copied on the machine. So it has finished, and now I can just save the package. So here I can go on the Msi X folder, choose save. I can also go to a package editor where, for example, I can start to tweak some of the things that have been created. But in this case, I'm just going to create the package. What the tool does at the end, it will also generate a template file, which is basically an XML file which you can reuse later to perform, again, this conversion with a command line tool. So if we have time, we will see this demo at the end. You can do the same exact thing with a command line tool. So you do the first conversion once, and then you can easily hook this tool up into a build component, for example, a build server, so on. So here I have my Msi X package. Windows natively understands Msi X packages, so I can just double-click on the package. I can just install it, and since this is signed with a certificate which is trusted on my machine, I'm able to perform the deployment, and at the end, I will have my packaged, my MSIX version of VLC running on my machine. So, sorry for the Italian, it's understanding probably that I'm coming from Italy, so it's prompted in Italian, but this is the packaged version of VLC. If I want to get rid of everything that VLC has deployed, I can just right-click, choose uninstall, OK, and now VLC is simply gone. The other entries you see are just because I did the conversion on my machine, so I have also the standard version of VLC. In a real environment, of course, you don't have this, but VLC is gone. All the registry keys that he has created are gone. All the files that he has created are gone. It's like if my machine is exactly in the same state as before I was installing the package. So everything is super clean and super efficient. And now, it's up to you.
Awesome. So now that you have your MSIX package, you're kind of thinking about distribution. Well, with MSIX, there are no limits on distribution. So if you want, kind of like a nice, simple, easy distribution to your users, we have the Microsoft Store for Business that you can deploy your MSIX to. If you're wanting something, a little bit more control and, cloud support, we also have Microsoft Intune, which supports MSIX deployment. And if you're looking for more control and, really just kind of managing that deployment experience, the Configuration Manager also supports MSIX. But really, if you're not using any of these, you can distribute from any server or location. So MSIX can be deployed however you're doing your deployments today. Now, to kind of switch topics a little bit, we're going to talk about the modification package now. So you can customize your MSIX packages with a modification package. So your modification package are those customizations that we talked about. You can also use a modification package for your plugins or your add-ons. So I'm going to walk you through what that kind of looks like today. So you start with your base kind of main MSIX package. In this instance, we're talking about an HR app version 1. And that app lives in the MSIX container. And when you add a modification package with your customizations, your modification package v1, your modification package is just another kind of MSIX package. What happens is each of those applications are deployed separately, but at runtime, they'll run together in that MSIX container so that to your user, there's only one experience. The benefit here with the separate MSIX main application and the MSIX modification package is that you can update your main application without having to repackage or do any changes to that second modification package. You can run your HR application and still see those same modifications that you had in version 1 in version 2. You can also update your modification package without having to make any changes to your main application. And you can also have multiple modification packages per main application. So now we're going to do another demo of what that can look like.
OK, so how many of you have some development experience? OK, this was expected, so I won't bore you with all the details about the development of the application, but I just wanted to point out one thing. This is a very simple application which mimics a traditional line of business application, so you have some data coming from a database which is displayed, and this application supports customization. So I have an help menu here with a check for updates feature, and an about page which by default is empty. There are some placeholders that the company can replace with your data. To customize this application, you basically have to deploy a JSON file. So this JSON file contains some information about the customization, so I can enable or disable the check for updates. I can define what I want to show in the About page. And I'm showing you the code just for one reason, to show you that I'm not doing nothing in this application to make it aware of MSIX or modification packages. This is an application that you could have in your environment today. So this application basically what does is that in the .NET ecosystem you have this special environment.special folder, which is basically a wrapper for the most common paths in the operating system. So here I'm just trying to load the configuration file from the program files folder, my employees /config.json. So to see that there isn't any trick, if I just launch the application and I stop it right before there, I can see that this path is exactly my program files folder. So the application is looking for the file there. But it's completely unaware that this will become an MSIX and how the config.json file will be deployed. It's just looking for the file there. So I already have packaged this application. I have it here. And I can just deploy on my machine. And it's the same application we have just seen. The configuration file is not there, so everything is like before. So the About page is placeholder with placeholder, and the check for updates is there. Now I'll deploy a modification package. What's the content of my modification package? An Msi X package under the hood is basically a zipped file with all the content. So I can open this with 7-zip, for example. And the magic happens here. As you can see, there's a folder called VFS, which is Virtual File System. And basically, this folder can contain multiple subfolders, which mimics the operating system ones. Whenever the application tries to look for a file in a system folder, Windows will look first inside one of these, and if it's not there, it will go to the real system folders. So here in this package, in this virtual file system, I have placed, this is the placeholder for the program files folder, and inside I follow the same structure of which my application is expecting. So I have a my employees folder, and inside I have a config.json file. In this case, the config.json file is, as you can see, is disabling the check for updates, and the information about the company are now customized. So now I deploy this modification package. And as Sharla said, now the modification package is running in the same container of the main application. So for the application, it's completely transparent that this file is coming from another package. It's like if it's the same one. So as you can see, it's reading the config.json file as expected, even if on my machine I don't have a C program files, my employees folder. Everything is included inside the modification package. As you can see, it's reading everything from that configuration file. Where I can find the modification package, well, if I look at the list of applications installed on my machine, I look for the employees application. I go to the advanced options. At the bottom, you can see that you have app add-ons. That's my modification package. I want to get rid of it, just uninstall. OK. Now let's open the application again, and the modification is gone. The application has returned in the same state, because the config.json file is not there anymore. Now let's see something more interesting, which is, let's deploy again the same customization. So just to show you, now the application is back in the previous state. So check for updates is gone, and the about is contoso. I'm the ISV. I have created a version 1.1 of this application, and I give to you this new version. This is the same MSIX which is given me by the ISV. I didn't touch anything. I didn't have to repackage, to customize. It's the basic application. So I deploy it. Windows understands that it's an update because the version number is higher. So I deploy the update. And as you can see, this is version 1.1 because now I have a refresh button here. And when I click on it, the progress bar changes to show the refresh, but the customization is kept. So I don't have the check for updates, and this is still Contoso. So I didn't have to repackage the whole application just because the ISV has released a new version of the application. I can still use the old modification package even if a new version of the application came out. And I can do the same with the modification package. So I have another update, this time for the modification package, which turns on the update feature. So I deploy this, and again, without having to repackage the customization with the main application, now I have the check for updates feature, because I deployed a new config.json. Pretty cool? OK. I think we have time also for the other demo. So bonus demo. If you remember, when we did the MSIX conversion, I said that at the end it generates a template that you can reuse. So let's take a look at this template. So this is an example. This is an example of a template, which is actually an XML file. And as you can see, it's basically a description of everything that has been captured by the application. So file exclusion, it's all the files and folders that the tool has understand that they are not part of the package, like Windows Defender, Microsoft Security Client. This is something which is not part of the package, so you need to remove it. The registry exclusion, so the same. There are some registry keys that has been detected, but the tool has understand that they are not part of the package. So Microsoft anti-malware, it's something coming from Windows doing something. It's not coming from the installation. And then here I have the information about which is where I want to deploy the package, which is the MSI I want to install, which is the identity of the package. In this case, I'm using Notepad++, which is another popular application. The publisher name, so everything that in the past we did, before we did in a visual way, now it's inside this XML. When you install the Msi X Packaging Tool, it registers an alias on the system, which means that whenever prompt I open, I can just type Msi X Packaging Tool, and I have access to the command line version of the tool. So here I can do Msi X Packaging Tool, create package, and then you need to specify the template you want to use. So in this case, we will use this one. The template is this one. OK. And now the conversion will happen using a command line approach. So this can be easily hooked up into a build system, for example. So you create a new update or a new installer for your application, and at the end of the process, automatically you also spin up the conversion, which is already filtered for all the things which are not needed. And at the end of the process, I simply have, as you can see, I have my Notepad package there, which I can reuse. For the security reason, an example of the security of MSIX I was talking to you before, if we check the properties of this, you can see that it's not signed. We don't have the digital signature stub. While, for example, if we open the VLC one we were looking at before, here we can see that this package has been digitally signed. So no matter what, Windows understands that this is a package, but if I try to install it, sorry, this is not signed with a trusted certificate. Go to the developer and ask a new one. So there's no way for the casual user to install something which is not trusted by your company or by your environment. If you want to sign this, the Windows 10 SDK ships with a tool called the Sign Tool, which you can use to sign existing MSIX package so that you can deploy them. OK.
Awesome. All right, so we got through that. So now we kind of have a good idea of what MSIX looks like today. So I want to kind of talk about some highlights from our backlog. So MSIX is coming out pretty much right now. And so we know there's still some work that we want to go do. So just to touch on a couple of these things, so Windows services are not currently supported with MSIX. We are working on this, and we are planning to have it out with our next OS release next spring. Drivers, those are a hot topic. So we also do not support drivers right now. From our understanding and what we've been talking with developers and IT pros about is, developers don't really like deploying the drivers with their packages. It's inconvenient to have the driver updates coupled with your packaging updates, and so we're working toward a sort of solution where we can do that sort of separation of those updates like we talked about earlier, so that your drivers can be deployed separately from your packages, but then still linked together because we know that they need them. We're also looking into down-level Windows 10 support. So right now, MSIX is only available on Windows 10 1809. We're looking into down-level support because we know that's important. So if you guys have any specific builds that you are really wanting MSIX support on, come talk to us at our booth out there later, and I will be sure to pass that along. We have integration with the System Center Config Manager and Microsoft Intune. We're working on building up this integration to make it a really great experience for you guys as far as conversions from those places, as well as the deployment and management. And last but not least, I want to talk about conversion as a service. This is something that we're looking into doing kind of moving forward. So this is kind of a sneak peek of what we're planning. So today you have your configuration manager server, which has likely all of your setup.exe, your MSIs, your scripts. Those actually make up about 95% of the enterprise experience today. And then we have this conversion as a service, which is sort of a cloud experience which allows you to spin up VMs. So remember those quick create VMs that I was talking about earlier that are already pre-configured for conversion. We'll spin those up for you. You can kick off the conversion process. We'll convert those to MSIX. You can deploy those wherever you need, and then we'll destroy those virtual machines so that the next time you go to convert, you'll have that clean experience that really makes for the best packaging process. And I just want to wrap up by saying, MSIX is the deployment technology moving forward. This is where we're investing in. This is where we really want to put our focus in. And so, test out MSIX. Let us know. Give us feedback. There's some really great stuff with MSIX with the modification packages. We're really investing in tools for MSIX. There's the package support framework, which is going to be talked about by some of our partners today. I know Priya is doing a whole talk on package support framework, Priya with Cloud House. And so, modification packages and MSIX, we really just kind of believe that it's going to help you to modernize your enterprises. And there's a couple of additional resources. So if you've got any questions on MSIX documentation, we've got a one-stop shop at aka.ms/MSIX. And then if you want to talk about MSIX, we have a tech community where all of us at Microsoft who are working on MSIX, we're there, we're active, and we're ready to listen to any questions you have on MSIX, the MSIX packaging tool, and the package support framework. So that's all we have.
Thank you.